Hey guys, Steven here with NorCal Screen Print Supply. Today we've got a design I have been dying to print for a couple months. I created this design on an iPad in Adobe Fresco, and this is a Formline Pacific Northwest native art. I've created a separation here. It's going to be a two-color imprint. We're going to have a white, solid white underbase, and we're going to have a layer of black on top. So I made the separation. I got this film ready. This is a 13 by 19 artboard, and we are going to use our Canon IP8720 to output this film. We're going to burn some screens and we're going to print some shirts and have some fun doing it. So stick around, it'll be cool. I'm about to print this film right now, and I just wanted to share real quick our print settings. I'm on a Mac here. I'm going to hit Command P. My printer is going to be the IP8700 all black. I'm going to set this up for all black there. It's going to be 13 by 19. Hit OK. It looks good. It's all fitting there. Then you want to come into setup right here, and under printer options, we're going to do quality and media. We're going to make sure this media type is set to photo, paper, platinum, and we're also going to make sure that print quality is set to high. We want to lay down a lot of ink. We want our film density to be as high as possible, and we want to block the light on our exposure unit the best we can to make a really nice stencil. So I got all that where I want it. I'm going to go ahead and hit print. Our printer should print the film. So there are a number of options available for the IP8720. There are some all black cartridges that are single use. Those are a good solution for this printer. What we have in here right now though are refillable cartridges that are available on Amazon. They're a little bit cheaper. And then we have this system here where we're using this syringe to fill up our ink. And we actually made another video about that. If you want to check it out, it's pretty informative all about this printer and that all black system. So check that out when you have a chance if you want to know more about the printer and how it works. So I can tell that my film is going through here actually nice and slow. It's not speeding through. If your film is going through too fast, it's a red flag that you're not laying down a lot of ink. You can also see here that we have a very nice opaque layer of ink here. It's nice and black. That's going to be exactly what we want to burn a good stencil with this film. If your film is not dark enough, light will go through our ink deposit here and it will begin to expose the emulsion that we are trying not to expose. When that happens, you go to rinse out your screen and the emulsion won't rinse out because it is hardened and cross-linked because light has hit it essentially. So if you go to wash out your screen and nothing comes out, you're overexposed, your film needs to be darker, and if you hit it with water and everything falls out, then you haven't exposed quite long enough. Wow, it's pretty good. Got some banding. This is with our print settings on photo, paper, platinum, and highest quality print. And this is with plain paper, standard quality. And if you look very closely, you can see some banding in here. If you look, show the light behind it directly, you can see these bands in here. This is actually better than I thought that this would print. We would probably be able to make a screen with this, but I can see that with our settings on photo, premium, platinum, and highest quality, I can see that this is a better film. There's no banding, it's solid black, so this is definitely what I would recommend, your print settings. Okay, we have a 160 and a 305. Our white ink is going to be printed with a 160. Our black ink is going to be printed with a 305. We're going to place both of these films in the same place on the screen. So this is going to go about 4.5 inches down to the center registration mark. So white ink is very thick and very opaque, and it can be a little bit more difficult to get through the screen mesh onto your substrate, onto the shirt. So we're going to burn the screen on a 160 mesh. It's a little bit looser weave. It is a good all-around middle-of-the-road screen mesh for white ink, and it'll lay down a good ink deposit. And then we're printing the black through a 305 because you can see we have some pretty detailed areas in here that we want to hold detail with that black ink. And black ink is very viscous. It's runny. It's Sacramento here. It's about 100 degrees today. The higher the temperature, the ambient temperature, the more runny the plastisol can become. And when you go to print this onto a layer of white ink, you can lose detail very easily, especially if your screen mesh is low. We're burning our screens on the base layer V series exposure unit. We have this set to about 27 seconds, and we burned a lot of screens during our classes. We do this whole process during our screen print classes. So we burn a lot of screens using this same emulsion, the same setup, and it works very well for us. Here we have this little cord that's going to create an air channel for our vacuum lid. Go ahead and turn off the inspection light and turn on the vacuum. So the vacuum exposure unit, this vacuum blanket creates full positive contacts between our glass and our screen mesh and our film. That's all sandwiched down very tightly so there's no gap. If there's a gap between the film and the screen mesh, then the light will creep around it and make kind of blurry lines. You won't have nice, crisp, solid lines on your screen stencil. We're gonna hit expose. 27 seconds goes by pretty quick, so I always turn off the vacuum when I turn on the expose. That way I know if the vacuum is not running, then I have turned on the exposure. My phone rings, someone knocks on the door, whatever it is, I leave, I come back. If this vacuum pump is still running, which you really shouldn't do, but if it is, then I know I have not hit expose yet. 27 seconds is up. Release the blanket. We are going straight from our exposure unit into a tank of only water. And the tank of water is going to stop our exposure process. So we have some ambient light here. This light is not really strong enough to damage our screen, but if our roll-up door was open right now and sunlight was hitting this screen, it would expose it before we even start to rinse it out, and that would be a problem for our exposure. I'm gonna go ahead and dunk this in here, and I'm gonna go expose my other screen and leave that in my water. It's water only, no chemical. That's gonna start to loosen our unexposed emulsion, and it'll be falling right out of there when we go to rinse it out. Got our black screen. Same process. Get positive contact on our film. We'll turn the vacuum off. We'll turn the exposure lights on, and 27 seconds. You always want to keep glass cleaner close by your exposure unit. If you have gunk and debris built up on your glass, it will block the light and cause a lot of pinholes in your screens. So we keep the glass cleaner handy and periodically clean your glass. All right, we're gonna go straight into the tank of water. We're gonna switch screens. So when I pull this one up, I can see my emulsion is already dripping out. That's great, that's what I want. I want this to be very easy to rinse out. So if I come over here and I come in tight right here in an area that's been exposed to light, and I make these circles and emulsion starts to gum up, and I can see that there's a lot of unexposed emulsion, I need to leave my screen on the exposure unit longer. If I did this over here and it looked like that, then that would be a problem. So it's not getting gummy because it's fully exposed, which is exactly what we want. We have a nice durable stencil. So we're gonna go ahead and rinse this out, and we'll show you how easily this rinses out. I like to start with the screen facing away, and we have our pressure washer. This is not a very high pressure. I'm gonna finish by rinsing this side, and you really don't wanna come in too tight with our pressure washer because you can blast the hole where you don't want it. So I'm gonna stay back here. And that's looking great. We have registration marks that blasted out. Our stencil's clean. We're gonna go ahead and rinse our other one, and we're gonna put these out in the sun to dry. This one rinsed out much quicker, and I think it's because the stencil or the emulsion coating is much thinner than our other one was. So I have a rag shirt here, a dry rag shirt. If your emulsion is fully exposed and hardened and cross-linked, and you've exposed this fully, then you'll be able to take a rag shirt and simply dry off your screen. All right, so we're gonna register our two-color print here. I have our registration marks. These right here are centered. They're all equal distance apart. And we have a line center of our platen so that we can bring the screen down and easily center justify it. We have some spray adhesive on the platen already, and I just made a mark of where our reg mark is gonna go. It's very close to being in registration just right off the bat. Kind of a tip on these Riley 250s, you don't want to loosen the print head like a whole bunch, because when you go to lock it back down, it's going to shift on you. So for that reason, I do loosen them a little bit, but just enough to free up the print area so we can use our micro registration. And so those are generally the loose rules of registration. If you're on this side, you're using this micro. If you're on this side, you're using this micro. I align all my rear reg marks. I get them all into registration. And then I look at the top ones to see, make minor adjustments there. And I'm gonna hold the screen right here and lock it down, tighten the print head, and we're gonna lift this up and drop it and see where we're coming down. Make sure you stir your plastisol inks really well. Our underbase is gonna be this nice kind of off-white. All right, I'm gonna grab my shirt by the side seams. Resist the urge to bunch this whole thing up. You don't need to do that. If you really want to, you can, but totally unnecessary. So we're gonna grab it by the side seams. We're gonna pull it just about all the way on to the platen, and then we're gonna reach underneath and clear it under the bracket. And then we're gonna pull it all the way forward. And from here, I'm gonna be looking at whether my neck hole is centered or not. I think it needs to come back and to the left a little bit. And I've marked here with a Sharpie where I want our drop to be. So I will lift the shirt, and you always want to handle the shirt where these three seams meet. You lift it up off the platen and back to your left, and then lay it down right where the edge of the platen is. If it still does not look centered, I can pull it all the way on again and then lift it up off the platen, back, and then drop it down where we like it. All right, we're ready to load a shirt up here for a test print. This is just a rag shirt, and we're gonna flash print our tan color, meaning 2 layers of it. I'm gonna show you how to do a flood stroke real quick. This is all stuff we teach in the class. So we wanna flood our print area, which is right here. And to do that, we need very little pressure. All we're doing is getting some ink here, and to demonstrate that, I'll do 2 fingers right here and just pull it toward me. So we have our print area nice and flooded. You only need to flood it once. That's plenty of ink. We could probably print 50 shirts with that amount of ink. For this one, I'm gonna push. So we're gonna get behind all of this ink here, and we're gonna push down. We're at like a 60-degree angle. And when you start to push and put pressure, the squeegee does not wanna necessarily go forward right away. So you give it a little nudge, and then you turn it at an angle. So I can see I have my screen pretty cleared through there. I'm gonna do one more flood and just get that through there one more time. Generally, if you can see ink left in your mesh, then you will see that in the print. I see that I have all of our ink cleared through the mesh, which is what I want. So I lift that up, have a nice consistent print. You do see the shirt fibers through here, but we're gonna print another layer after we flash this. That is gonna provide good coverage and cover up the black shirt underneath. We're gonna go ahead and rotate that to our flash dryer. Give that a good 10 seconds. We've got it pretty high up. You don't really wanna have it too low because your palettes start to get hot as you're going through your print run. Still wet, you can see that. Let it dry a little bit longer. We've got our first layer dry to the touch. We're gonna bring the same screen down, flood it, push it through and clear it, and take a look. We have a nice opaque layer of ink. Looks great, it's nice and bright. It's covering up our shirt fibers. You're not seeing any fibers through there. That's what we want. The squeegee's a little bit wide for my print, so I'm gonna get some ink on the edges here so I can flood the whole screen. And I'm gonna try to do this in one clear stroke. And we're gonna see how that looks. Oh yeah, it looks pretty nice. Let's see. I got a good ink deposit here. I got a couple little dots in there, and what happens is you print the underbase. In this case, our underbase is colored tan. We've done 2 layers of ink, and the surface of that is a little bit uneven. It has a little tiny bit of pitting. And then when you put the brown ink on top of that, if you only do 1 stroke like we did, you don't get all the way into those little tiny pits. So we're gonna hit it one more time just to get into those little crannies and kind of get rid of those little dots. Looking pretty good to me. I love that we maintain all of our detail. Our wolf, his front teeth are nice and sharp. I like the colors. If you notice, our reg marks are a little bit off. With this print, you know, we have kind of the outline set up. It doesn't have to be super dead on registration, to be honest, you know. Before we do our official print, we need to tape off the registration marks. I tape my registration marks from the bottom, and the reason for that is if we tape them on top here, the squeegee's gonna go over that tape and peel it up. So I always tape them on the bottom. The tape will not get in the way of the squeegee. We set up our registration marks so that you can cover them with 1 piece of tape just across there. One and done, very easy. Make sure you get the whole reg mark, because if the tip is not taped off, you will have a pinhole there. I've done that plenty of times before. So we are now taped off and ready to print our shirt. Okay, quick recap on our print. We have a tan underbase, print flash print 2 layers and a top layer of brown. And we ran our tan underbase on a 160 mesh screen, and we ran our top brown on a 305 screen. We hit that basically 2 passes. We did a flood and a print and a flood and a print. We don't want to keep flooding it and printing it because we'll lose detail in our print. Came out really nice, really enjoy the print. I designed this maybe 2-3 months ago, been really excited to print it, so it's a fun print. We do all of this in our classes. So if you're interested in sharpening your skills in screen printing or dipping your toe into the pool of screen printing, please get in touch with us. We'd love to have you in the class. We also offer pre-burned screens to get your project started quickly. We offer film output if you need films to burn your screens. We also do color separations at NorCal. We do all kinds of things. Anything that you need help with, basically you get in touch with us, we'll help you out and help you get your project across the finish line. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Keep on printing.